Live. This is News 8 at 11.
Crisscrossing the states for the candidates as it's T-minus 24 hours before we know who the next governor will be.
Get out and vote.
The push is on to get people to the polls, what you need to know before going to vote tomorrow.
Parents, their children, and teachers wanting to know more about the long-term effects of e-cigarettes on children, what researchers at Yale University are saying, and what they say it's just too early to even know.
How do you keep your kids in line? Pediatricians are strengthening their stance against spanking. We'll tell you about that.
Take that umbrella with you to the polls. Some Election Day rain is coming. Here's meteorologist Joe Fury with your local forecast first.
Thanks, Darren. Hi, everybody. Yeah, but of course, more rain. Now, you know, the way we play it as we go into Election Day morning is that it's not going to be raining. It is going to be dank. It's going to be dreary. It's going to be drizzly. It may be a little foggy. It's still light rain out there right now. So I guess the way to put it is that as you move out the door to the polls at 6 a.m. or out to work, it's not going to be all that bad. It can get bad in the afternoon, though, because this little area of low pressure is tracking out. This is our little break in the action as we go through the overnight into early tomorrow. Then this is a really intense line of heavy rain and thunderstorms that's coming in from the west. Temperatures 40s, lower 50s overnight through 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. It's not doing too much. Once we hit the midday and afternoon, here comes the big stuff. Now you got downpours, gusty winds, some lightning and thunder. At least it's mild. It's going to be, well, a morning that's not so bad, an afternoon that can be a little stormy, and then an 8-day forecast that shows a lot of sun, but a taste of December. We'll talk about it coming up.
All right, News 8 is your local election headquarters. Connecticut will pick a brand new governor tomorrow.
Yeah, polls open around the state in just about 7 hours now. They'll be open tomorrow from 6 a.m. until 8 p.m. News 8's Bob Wilson live in our Hartford newsroom tonight with the candidates' final pitches. Bob.
Yeah, in a T-minus 24 hours, you think about all the campaigning, all the ads that you see on TV. They all three agree the ads were too negative. They were very positive tonight as they went out there and catered toward that all-important undecided voter.
As a young person in Connecticut, I'm looking at jobs, I'm looking at the economy, I'm looking at my future in Connecticut. I was born here, and at this point I have to make a decision whether or not I'm going to move out once my parents leave, once they retire.
So which candidates will check the boxes? Which one's going to put Connecticut back on the tracks?
It's hard to pick a candidate these days. It's so polarized, both sides. It's tricky.
The difference between me and Bob is night and day. I can't figure out how anybody could be undecided at this point.
But there's still a lot of undecided voters out there, and the last-minute campaigning has been ratcheted up by all three candidates.
Tomorrow, vote, 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 vote. Thank you, everybody.
Democrat Ned Lamont was in West Hartford tonight, flanked by two big-name lawmakers also running for re-election. They're attempting to galvanize the party and the voting base.
They believe in this state. They want a governor that believes in the state. Make sure that young people believe in the state and businesses grow and invest in the state. And you got to have a positive attitude. And that's what I'll be as a governor. I'll be a champion for the state of Connecticut.
Ned Lamont now off to another event. They're stacking it all night long. They're crisscrossing the state. He says he is giving it everything over the last 24 hours because he knows how important the stakes are as they near the election.
I think this 10-day bus trip we've done has helped a lot. We're doing 7 or 8 events a day. I see tremendous momentum, and the experts would tell you towards the end it's all about momentum.
Republican Bob Stefanowski says the momentum has come from listening, understanding what people want. He had no events tonight, but says during the past 10 days it has been listening just as much as speaking his ideas, and that means listening to Democrats.
What are the Democrats thinking? I've got a fair number of Democrats that have come up to me over the last couple weeks, say they're voting Republican for the first time in their life because they want change. I want to understand what change means to them.
Do you really think that there's going to be any change in terms of the mudslinging? It's going to be the same old garbage. And I think people see through it. I think the reason we're confident we're winning tomorrow is people are tired of this poll-tested pablum.
Petitioning candidate Oz Griebel also putting on a last-minute push. His message is to change Connecticut, and you have to do that by putting in an independent, not a Democrat or Republican, because he says the party system is part of the problem. You need an independent leader who can come up with fresh ideas and a fresh start.
We have to get everybody back to the table. Our plan is Connecticut, we're all in this together, and so that means everybody's got to come in to address all these issues.
And Gribble says that, that means the unions have to come to the table. That means all the employees, everybody coming together to come up with new solutions, new ideas. Lawmakers, he's willing to work with everybody. As both candidates, all three candidates said that the Democrats and Republicans need to work together. I'm Bob Wilson reporting live in the Hartford Newsroom, News 8.
All right, Bob, thanks. More than 300,000 new Connecticut voters have registered in the past 2 years. As we mentioned, the polls will be open tomorrow from 6 in the morning till 8 at night. If you're a registered voter in line by 8 p.m., they'll let you vote. There are several things you can bring to identify yourself.
Assuming you're on the rolls, you're already registered. So then what you need is either a Connecticut driver's license or Connecticut ID or anything that shows that you live at your residence or can identify you. So the famous one, I guess, that people use all the time is, yes, a utility bill. If it's addressed to you, that works.
So if you still need to register to vote, you can tomorrow. Just go to your local town hall. It is too late to mail an absentee ballot, but you can bring that to town hall as well. Another tip, check both sides of your paper ballot. Ballots in New Haven and some other communities are two-sided this year. Let us know about any issues you run into at the polls tomorrow. Just use the Report It feature built right into our free News 8 app. And once the polls close, we'll be watching. As the results pour in, this is the place to be tomorrow night. Our coverage of all the state's races begins tomorrow night at 8 p.m. on our sister station, MyTV9.
Parents, students, and teachers were at the library at Guilford High School to hear researchers from Yale talk about the dangers of e-cigarettes.
Yeah, rates of vaping on the rise with kids, especially with those alluring flavors and easy access. News 8's Amy Hudak was in Guilford and has that story.
This was a room packed full of mothers and fathers, their kids, even teachers and guidance counselors wanting to know more about the long-term effects of e-cigarettes on kids and teens. Researchers at Yale saying it's just too early to know just how dangerous they can be.
The thick clouds of smoke and sometimes sweet smells are unmistakable. Adults, teens, and now younger and younger kids are using e-cigarettes and getting hooked. Helen Garrick's twins are headed to high school next year, and some of their classmates are testing the waters.
I know it's very easy to conceal. I know they have a lot of different flavors that seem to appeal to younger children, so I just want to learn what I can.
Mary Mensing has 2 middle schoolers and came because she wants to know more, especially what to say to her kids about the harmful effects.
I know this is a rising thing that kids are doing, and I just really don't know a lot about it and wanted to learn more about the risks and why kids decide to do it.
Researchers at Yale putting on the presentation for parents, some with their children, and educators. They say many of the long-term effects just aren't known yet because e-cigarettes haven't been studied for years.
I am concerned that this is going to become the new cigarettes for this generation.
Carolyn Vanacore is a mother and a middle school counselor.
I have learned over the last 5 years from my own kids and from the kids that I see in middle school that this vaping has become a pretty big concern and that kids are very misinformed about it. They don't realize the risks and the hazards. So whatever information I can gather and tools I can get to use with my students and my own kids to keep them educated, the better off I am.
Health experts saying the later smoking is put off, the less likely somebody will be to pick it up and potentially become addicted.
Researchers at Yale University have been doing this tobacco study with e-cigarettes in kids and teens for the past 5 years. They say in the next 5 years, the amount of information that comes out will be abundant. In Guilford, Amy Hudak, News 8.
New tonight, one person is dead after a shooting in Waterbury. It happened around 5 this morning on Knollwood Circle. The name of the victim has not been released. No word on suspects tonight. Police say they are still investigating.
Authorities in Brantford continue to look for the driver who hit a bicyclist and kept going. It happened Sunday morning at East Main Street and Featherbed Lane. Surveillance photos of the truck involved released today. Here it is. Police say it's a white 2013 Ford F-250 with Connecticut license plate 8334C2. It has damage to the passenger's side headlight. Police say the victim is a 52-year-old Brantford woman. She's in serious but stable condition. If you can help in this case, call Brantford Police. Authorities in Bethany are also on the hunt for a hit-and-run driver. 25-year-old Tony Goncalves of Derby was walking along Route 63 Sunday morning. He was hit and killed near Edwards Road. Police say the car involved may be a dark green 1997 to 2011 Jeep Cherokee. It has front-end damage, including a broken headlight. Call if you can, in this case, if you can help out.
An update on the criminal investigation of the Seymour High School football program. Criminal charges are being recommended now, but it's still not clear against who or why. Former head football coach Tom Lennon is not expected to be charged. The investigation into the football program started this summer. Lennon was placed on administrative leave. Several assistant coaches were fired or quit. Seymour police have finished their investigation. That case is now in the hands of the state's attorney's office.
A major home improvement store is closing in one Shoreline town. We'll have that story coming up.
It's on the way. Also, tomorrow, not only a big day here in Connecticut, but around the country. Will the Republican Party lose control of Congress?
We'll tell you why pediatricians say that you should not spank your children.
Also, rainy night in Middletown and in other parts of the state. More rain on Election Day, too. Joe will time it all out when we come back here in just a minute.
Tomorrow is not only a big election in Connecticut, but across the country. Control of Congress is at stake. Every House seat and a third of the Senate seats are up for grabs. President Trump is at the heart of this election. Here's ABC's Emily Rao.
For freedom, and they can't take.
Welcomed by a roaring crowd in southeast Missouri, President Trump made his last of 3 campaign stops in Cape Girardeau. Republicans continuing to push the economy and jobs while the president stokes his base with talk of border security.
You think we're letting that caravan come into this country? You can forget it.
Despite saying this Monday when asked if he would do anything differently.
I would like to have a much softer tone. I feel to a certain extent I have no choice, but maybe I do, and maybe I could have been softer.
But Democrats, including former President Obama, are painting Tuesday's midterms as a referendum on the Trump White House.
The character of this country is on the ballot. Who we are is on the ballot.
With the stakes sky high, early voter turnout is way up.
The local dynamics of the races, whether in Senate seats or in House districts, will probably matter a lot less to voters than whether they think that Trump is doing a good job or not.
Those dynamics vastly different from one state to the next. In Georgia, Stacey Abrams, who hopes to become the nation's first black female governor, making no attempt to attract conservatives away from Brian Kemp. In deep red Texas, Congressman Beto O'Rourke promising unity in his battle against incumbent Senator Ted Cruz.
It is precisely at that moment that Texas stands up, not as Democrats, not as Republicans, but as Americans.
With more than 5,000 active duty troops now at the border, immigration remains a key issue going into Tuesday. In fact, 2 Democrats vying for Senate seats in both Arizona and Missouri have said they support President Trump's plan for the border. Emily Rao, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
Disgraced Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein wants all sex crime charges against him dropped. His attorneys filed motions to dismiss charges today, including predatory sex assault and first-degree rape charges. They argued police misconduct in the case prejudiced the grand jury. One count against Weinstein was dropped last month, partly because of inconsistencies in one claim.
The American Academy of Pediatrics says you should not spank your children. They point to studies showing it doesn't work to change behavior. Those studies show the effects only last about 10 minutes. Then kids go back to acting the way they were in the first place. Spanking can also lead to aggressive behavior and negative parent-child relationships. The group recommends healthy forms of discipline, including positive reinforcement and setting expectations and limits.
Lowe's is closing its store in Orange, along with 50 others. The chain announcing today is closing 20 underperforming stores in this country and 30 in Canada. The store is expected to shut down before February 1st. Most stores will have closing sales, but some will close right away. Lowe's says most employees will be given opportunities to transfer to nearby stores. There is another Lowe's in Milford.
Bradley International Airport is back to normal this evening after a power outage this morning. The airport went dark at about 3 a.m. Power didn't come back on really until after 8. Without electricity, there were no computers to check in passengers. There were no x-ray machines, security, leading to flight delays and long lines.
There's been a sense of chaos here, which is concerning because nobody's walked around.
Everybody's been really nice here. You know, if this happened in Los Angeles, everybody would be like yelling at everybody and it'd be like this. So there's a lot of patient people out here.
Airport officials say they had a problem with their power facility and their backup feed from Eversource. A third generator kicked in, but it's not meant to power the entire airport.
FEMA teams are in several shoreline towns in eastern Connecticut assessing damage from flash flooding back in September. Those teams were in Clinton today looking at how much damage was done. Several roads and bridges were washed away by floodwaters. The bridge that connects the Morgan School to the high school athletic fields in Clinton was also damaged.
This area in particular has the water main running across it and also the gas line. So you'd say, well, it's just a road that goes over to sports fields, but that also provides services to our high school, which is imperative that we fix it.
Clinton first estimated the damage to be about $750,000, but it may be a lot more. FEMA assessments will be sent to Governor Malloy. He can use that to seek a presidential disaster designation so cities and towns can get federal money to help pay for those repairs.
All right, Joe, let's get the lowdown for tomorrow's voting.
All right, so we are going to have a not so good day, but at the same time, there's going to be periods in there where it's going to be okay for you to get out and about and do things. It is a little bit of light rain out there now, and, well, the idea as you step out the door tomorrow morning, head to the polls at 6 a.m., it's not going to be doing a whole lot. Here's New London with our cat's eye view of, well, a situation that's improving a little bit for us now as we go through the overnight. So the idea, your forecast first for Election Day, 40s to lower 50s. It's cloudy. It's a little drizzle and fog, but there's no steady rain that's going to be coming from the sky between about 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. So that's good. Morning rush, out to the polls. Morning, you're doing fine. We hit the lunchtime hour, and that's when the showers start to move on in. That's when the wind starts to ramp up. That's when the temperature starts to come on up. One good thing about Election Day afternoon, it's going to be plenty mild out there, but there's going to be some downpours happening. There's going to be some strong winds out there as well. So again, it's not going to rain all the time, but it's certainly going to be at times a little bit stormy. All right, 49 with, well, the northeast wind at about 13, 14 miles per hour. It's wet. The rain, it's light, and it's going to move out this low going up to the northeast. So this is our break in the action during tomorrow morning before this line comes in for tomorrow midday in the afternoon. So we take the low out. This line here is pretty impressive. We're talking about tornado watches out with it, severe weather. Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley going to have a rough night ahead. For us, well, we're going to try and squeeze it all the way through 10, 11 o'clock without too much going on, and then we'll roll this in. Heavy downpours. Out ahead of it should be a strong wind, and so, yeah, not so good for a while tomorrow afternoon. Winds could gust 30, 40 plus miles per hour as the front approaches. And the downpours that'll be in there, lightning and thunder there as well. So we always have to watch out that there's not a localized severe storm coming through, because it's possible. Most of the big severe weather stays just to our south, but that's certainly a possibility. Look at the numbers in the thermometer, getting up into the 60s, and those winds that are going to be strong as well, 40 plus miles per hour. And you can see there's downpours in here, but then there's also areas where it's not doing much. So again, it's not raining all afternoon, but there can be some tough weather in spots. And there's still some downpours going right through the evening rush hour time. Once we head past about 7, 8 o'clock, we'll push everything out to the east. And temperatures that are not all that chilly going into Thursday morning, down in the 40-degree range. Wednesday, rather, is going to be a great day. Sunshine, we're doing well up near 60. And then going into Thursday morning, we're down near 40 with highs in the 50s. Wednesday and Thursday, 2 bright days, which is fantastic. Storm comes along Friday with a cold rain, and then a taste of December is in here as we head into the weekend and next week with the 8-day forecast showing a lot of sunshine. Temperatures are going to be in the 50s to near 60 Wednesday, Thursday in the 50s. Friday's raining. It's a cold rain. Saturday and Sunday, 40s, overnight lows into the 20s. So Election Day, it's not a washout. but at the same time, it's going to have some rough periods, especially the afternoon.
Okay.
Jill, thanks. You ready to start thinking about Christmas?
Sure, why not?
Why not?
7 weeks.
Let's do it. Okay, Pillsbury is releasing ready-to-bake sugar cookies inspired by the Christmas movie Elf with Will Ferrell. They're pre-cut goodies featuring Buddy's iconic green hat and yellow hat there too. They're available at Walmart and Target in our area.
A single mother from Iowa is hundreds of millions of dollars richer. She had a big Powerball jackpot. Next, what she plans to do with all that money.
An Iowa grandmother is $340 million richer tonight. 51-year-old Lauren West hit the Powerball jackpot 2 Saturdays ago. So did somebody else who bought a ticket in New York. The two split nearly $700 million. West says she's going to buy a new house, go on a long vacation, and get rid of her Ford Fiesta with 142,000 miles on it. She'll also give some to her family, she says, pay her grandchildren's college tuition, and donate some to charity.
Once you have one and you realize the responsibility and, you know, just the impact that you can make, all frivolity goes out the window. You know, I started thinking more of who I'm going to help, and my stuff has been sort of an afterthought to me.
She just started a new job in September. She retired. The New York ticket has not yet been claimed.
How about that? Alrighty, John's here with a day's sports. John.
Well, we got a little football when we come back. We'll talk volleyball as well and check in on the UConn women's basketball team. One player needs to step up this year for the Huskies. Who's that? We'll tell you when we get back. Welcome back, everyone. The UConn women won't have much margin for error this year. One thing the Huskies lack is a little bit of depth. There are 3 givens on the team: Katie Lou Samuelson, Nafisa Collier, Crystal Dangerfield, and Megan Walker. She wants to step into a similar role. The #1 recruit overall coming out of high school had her freshman growing pains a year ago. This season, the Huskies need more from Walker. She did have 11 points and 12 rebounds in yesterday's exhibition win.
This year, I believe I'm more confident. You know, I think my teammates can see it, coach can see it. It's just a better feel on the court with my teammates. It's definitely a lot more on your shoulders, more responsibility. You know, you have to get everything right. It needs to be perfect in order for us to have a successful season.
She has the ability to contribute a lot. What Megan's going to have to do is learn how to sustain it for an entire game, an entire practice. But when you're out there and you've got to be out there for long stretches, that really tests, and that's her big test this year.
Huskies open the season Sunday at home against Ohio State. The University of Men's basketball team at New Haven going to be pretty good this year. The Chargers picked 2nd in the Northeast 10 preseason poll. Head coach Ted Hotaling with a strong nucleus of players coming back. Still a pretty young group, but with some good experience and a couple new faces on the roster. They're going to be tested on Friday. The Chargers will travel to New Jersey to take on Big East team Seton Hall in an exhibition game.
Our first taste of Big East basketball. So got a lot of New Jersey players in our program. We've had a lot of good Jersey players throughout our history here. So it'll be good to get them home and good to be challenged by a really good team.
It's good to play definitely a high Division I team. You know, we're D2, but it brings out a nice challenge of us when we play other teams and stuff.
Chargers home opener is November 17th against Adelphi. NBA tonight. Look at Clyde. Looks like he's wearing the living room couch to work.
We had him look like that.
I know, right? Nice 70s vibe going on there. Love Clyde. Knicks and the Bulls. Great game, too. Late in the 4th, Zach LaVine, the 3. Chicago up by 5. Knicks would come back to force overtime in this one. Alonzo Trier, this kid is pretty good. He ties it at 102. He had 21 on the night, but in OT, LaVine and the Bulls just too much. He had 41 points in a 116-115 win. Celtics were losing in Denver with just a couple minutes to go. NHL tonight, Bruins hosting the Dallas Stars. Prior to the game, the Bees honoring the World Series champion Boston Red Sox. Tied at 1 after regulation. Bruins with a 5-on-3 in overtime, and they take advantage. They cash in. Brad Marchand with the game winner. 2-1, Boston with the win. The University of New Haven and Southern Connecticut women's volleyball teams will be hosting quarterfinal conference tournament games tomorrow night. New Haven will play St. Anselm, while Southern Connecticut State will host Southern New Hampshire. The 4th-seeded Owls are hosting for the first time since 2012. They've played really well at home this year, 12-1 on their home gym, including 7 straight wins. Heading into the postseason, the expectations are pretty simple.
We're going to take it one day at a time. You know, we're super excited about the opportunity to be able to host here again at home. Like I said, it's the first time since 2012. We're hoping for a big crowd.
We would love to get far, but of course you can't be too cocky or too confident. You have to like kind of stay mellow throughout the whole thing, because you don't want to just be like, oh, we're going to kill every team, but you know, you have to perform each and every day. And I think if we take it one day at a time, that will be fine.
Both quarterfinal matches begin at 7 p.m. tomorrow night. Yale first-year quarterback Griffin O'Connor picked up a prestigious Ivy League award today, named the Co-Offensive Player and Rookie of the Week. O'Connor made his first start Saturday and was impressive. He threw for 436 yards and 4 touchdowns in a Yale win. O'Connor and the Bulldogs host undefeated Princeton Saturday at the Bowl. All right, go over to WTNH.com and please vote for our high school game of the week. It's our final game of the week this year. North Haven, Fairfield Prep, Amity Hamden, Wilbur Cross in hand. Voting closes 6 p.m. on Wednesday.
All right, thanks so much.
Sure. Rain tomorrow.
All right, yeah, we got a big line coming in from the west. I see a tornado warning out near Nashville, Tennessee right now. How about that? So we're talking about just cloudy with some drizzle in the morning. Watch out, showers, downpours for the afternoon. Pretty windy. Then it gets real nice for Wednesday and Thursday.
All right, Joe, thanks. Jimmy Kimmel Live is next.
We'll see you tomorrow. Go vote.
Good night.